As the saying goes, a man's home is his castle. But these days, modern homeowners don't need an army to defend their property. They should, however, be prepared and proactive. Today, tips on how to protect your home with Surefox North America. Let's take a look.
I'm Josh Stott, CEO and co-founder of Surefox North America. Surefox North America is a nearly all ex-military boutique firm that operates much on the values that we grew up in the military. We've embodied our own values from quality, transparency, and respect, and we bring that into everything that we do. Surefox provides physical vulnerability assessments of properties. In doing so, we're able to assess different attributes of the building: windows, glass, doors, security cameras, all attributes that give you proper standoff. In a lot of ways, an assessment gives you a disinterested third party that can give you a proper assessment of saying, hey, I could break into your home rather easily, and this is the way that I would do it. And that gives you an opportunity to maybe make that improvement before that opportunity is made present for somebody who wants to take advantage of it. At the end of the day, you've got to be your own advocate. All too often, people rely on maybe city officials or police, and they assume that that is going to save the day. And in all actuality, most police response times are 10 or sometimes 15 minutes in some cities. If that's true, then you're your own advocate for that first 15 minutes, and you've got to do all that you can to protect yourself or slow down an intruder so that you've got an opportunity to survive.
All right, so Josh, we're on the very exterior of this property. So could you tell me about what you were saying about the first layer of a defense?
Sure. Well, in this particular house, you have an exterior gate, right, which provides you your first layer of protection. And here we have a keypad, and you have access control with these automatic doors, and that's going to give you some access control and let you know who's coming in. Now, if you're an everyday homeowner, you can duplicate this entire very expensive process with something like Ring or another doorbell-generated, Wi-Fi-based access control system.
Right.
This is a very fancy setup. This was spent thousands of dollars. It's very well made, but this kind of process, or even the system, can be duplicated with something off of Amazon for a few $100s these days. With gates, they come with a lot of great advantages. It prevents people from truly gaining access unless you really want them to have access. But when we talk about safety features, it has its deterrents, right? So everyday homeowner doesn't have to deal with a large gate maybe when, say, an emergency vehicle might have to arrive.
And it always doesn't have to be a physical gate. Sometimes it can be a natural barrier, like shrubs or trees or plants or something like that.
No, absolutely. Shrubs, trees, winding roads. What you don't want is very direct, straight routes to your house, right? Anything that causes somebody to have to turn or slow down prevents them from even using the vehicle maybe to use it to breach the gate.
All right, well, let's go check out the rest of the house.
Let's check it out.
All right, so now that we're past the gate, and before we get inside the house, there's two key security features out here: the exterior lighting and security cameras. Can you tell me a little bit about those?
Right, some of the most basic features you can apply to the exterior are going to be lighting and cameras. The nice thing about both of those is they generally have intersecting fields, and they require the same kind of placement and maintenance. A lot of folks will install cameras, and over time, trees get taller, bushes get taller, and it does take some active maintenance to kind of clean those up. You got to make sure cobwebs are not growing around them, nothing's obstructing the view, you have dust, rain, all the normal weather elements that you would have exterior.
And then when it comes to exterior lighting, is there certain placements that you should put it?
Well, at a home you have two types of lighting, right? You have lighting for home and you have lighting for security. So your security lighting should generally be outward facing. You're talking about high wattage, usually sensor triggered, and that gives you that kind of surprise response, right? I'm sure everybody's been at home and had their own light trigger on them, and it still gives you a little jolt, right? Can you imagine the criminal when they're walking on? It gives them a completely different outlook.
Josh, so now we're on the inside of the house. So can you tell me a little bit about, what this house has done right in terms of security and maybe some things that they could add?
What they've done here, this homeowner's done a great job. We've got good solid doors. You've got some window that's reinforced with some metal, good deadbolts, interior facing hinges, right? And we have a door sensor that's connected to the alarm system, right? All good features. Now, it doesn't stop here, though. There's a lot of good opportunity for improvement. There's additional locks and other small things you can place on the door for an extra layer of security.
All right, so you were just mentioning the sensors on the front door. What would it look like if we put a sensor on one of these windows?
Well, I'm glad you bring that up. We just leaving the front door, it's a solid piece of wood. Somebody's gonna try to gain entry to your home, they're not gonna use the front door. So if you have a window in your home that's this large, you really need to have some sort of auditory sensor to detect its frequency if it's broken.
And what would that look like? Do you put it on the window, or where do you put it somewhere else in the room?
There are some models that do get installed on windows, but the best application would be somewhere central in the room so it can detect that proper frequency.
I know that when I set the alarm in my house, it's more for a peace of mind rather than anything else. So can you explain to me a little bit more about the benefits of having an alarm system in the house?
Right, we're close to the front door. This is your typical kind of keypad alarm system. Obviously this one's from ADP. Everything operates the same. You've got your key functions, you've got your alarm, your fire, and everything is tied into the sensors. You know, if you've got windows, you've got glass break sensors, you've got door alarm sensors, and they're all tied to a central unit that will contact the police. Or no, a lot of alarm systems will give off a large loud sound. Some that are triggered by sensors, right? You know, this one also allows you to manually trigger the alarm, which will allow you to contact the police.
If somebody's breaking into the house and you'd actually contact the police or maybe even EMS, it's probably better if it's closer to a place you might be hiding in the house, right? That might be a primary bedroom.
So you're saying putting a secondary unit for an alarm system in a primary bedroom. Could you show me what could work in this house?
No, I think we got some good examples. You want to go check it out?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, so this is just a typical closet in a primary bedroom, right?
Absolutely, yeah, there's nothing special about this closet. We're about three rooms deep into this house. You know, we have solid core wood doors and we have deadbolts all the way throughout, which create nice barriers all the way through to what would be the safest point in the house. Generally what you need is a place that you can coordinate with your family and you can have a plan and you can move to the safest point of the house, and in that room you have access to your alarm panel, your CCTV cameras, and most likely power, right? Because you're going to need to be able to charge a phone, or you're going to need to be able to sustain yourself for a little bit until police arrive.
All right, Josh, tell me what this piece of equipment is.
This is a very large generator for a very big house. I don't think most folks would need anything quite this big, but the generator and the backup power is really important, especially with everything we've discussed today.
What about safety equipment? Why is it important to have like a fire extinguisher down here?
Well, much like you would have in the kitchen, you know, if you have a place where you're going to have fire, you have combustion, it's important to properly maintain that equipment and keep safety features near that equipment. Otherwise, you're fixing one problem and creating two.
Natural disasters. I mean, with all the natural disasters we're having around the country, why is it important to have one of these?
It's incredibly important. You know, having a backup generator is important for food, it's important for lights and cameras and all the security features we've kind of discussed. In the event of a hurricane, it might be days or weeks before you get an opportunity to have somebody come by and restore power or provide you food and water, and it's an opportunity for you to give that extra layer of protection in a time where you're not going to have EMS or police support.
All right, Josh, well, I just want to say thank you so much for showing me through this property today. It really means a lot to me to show, you know, the safety features that I can implement in my own home.
Well, this is a really important topic to us, so we're passionate about it. For those at home that are starting to take interest in personal home security, you don't need to be a multimillionaire to have the kind of features and stuff that we talked about today. You can get these features into your home. If you don't know what you're doing at home, feel free to reach out to a consultant. They're not as expensive as you think.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
To learn more about the security solutions we've discussed today, visit surefox.com or our website, designingspaces.tv.